Well, welcome back to another edition of 42nd Street Pete's Grindhouse, and let's go back to 1979 to... You ever watch a movie and after it was over you just sat there and said, what the fuck did I just see? Well, that seems to be the case with a film called The Dark, released by Film Ventures back in 1979. Now, the problem... Actually, there's a lot of problems with this film. It was supposed to be directed by Tobe Hooper. In fact, the cast is really good. William Devane, Richard Jekyll, Keenan Wynn, Kathy Lee Crosby, people like that. The only reason William Devane took the part in this film was because he wanted to work with Tobe Hooper. Well, I was listening to the commentary on the Blu-ray, and I had interviewed John Bud Cardos a couple times on my old-time radio show back in the day. And John, being the gentleman he is, basically said that Tobe was in over his head. He had never done a big studio production, and he was now 3 weeks behind. Well, that was on my radio interview. When they were doing the commentary on the Blu-ray, I don't remember who was saying what, but they said Tobe was sick. Tobe had a huge cocaine problem, and this wasn't the first film he would be let go of. Other two that came to mind were Poltergeist and Venom. Bud was brought in when this thing was 3 weeks behind. He had to assure William Devane that he wouldn't change his character, and basically had to play catch-up. Well, the original plot of this thing was that there was some big autistic kid that was maybe caught in a fire and went out and started a killing rampage or something like this. Well, that's the way they sort of like filmed it, and they used John Bloom, the 7-foot accountant turned actor, as the monster, because he was playing a lot of monsters. It makes very little sense because you see a blind man walking around, then you see a woman get attacked in the opening sequence. The woman who gets attacked is the William Devane character's daughter. The cop, Richard Jekyll, has a huge hard-on for Devane for some reason, for something else that he did time for. So, according to what Bud told me, this was supposed to be a straight-out monster movie, but the producers were influenced by the success of Alien and decided to make it a Space Invader movie. And they did this by basically adding these laser beams shot out of the monster's eyes and a lot of explosions and shit like that. It makes very little sense. The blind man keeps coming around where you think, in the back of your mind, you think the blind man is maybe morphing into this creature. For the climactic shootout where a whole bunch of people are blowing up, cops are killed, this thing goes on a rampage and shit, he's shooting laser beams, people are blowing up and shit. The weird thing is that William Devane's character runs up behind it with something lit on fire and sticks it by his feet, and poof, it's gone. And that's the end of the movie. And then this voice goes, well, maybe, you know, next visitors to our planet won't be so unfriendly or shit like that. Okay, like I said, the movie's all over the road, and sometimes it makes very little sense, and there's also a psychic involved, if you want to believe this thing, that basically can predict the deaths of some people coming. And there's this one guy in a bar who walks out, and I guess she predicted his death, and he gets his head ripped off by the thing. So, like I said, you know, it probably had great potential, but then with the, you know, the firing of Tobe Hooper and Bud coming in midstream to try to correct it, and then the producers taking what he did and just adding all kinds of weird shit to it to make it a fucking Alien movie, it sort of tanks. But you know, I'm a really big fan of a lot of the actors who were in it, and that's why I watched it. And like I say, it's this odd, really weird piece toward the late 70s when films were sort of, for lack of better words, devolving into whatever they could get away with to get them into the grindhouse circuit, because home video was coming in strong, and basically if the film didn't work in a grindhouse or movie theater, it went right to home video. So that's our show for today. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully the next time I'm on the air, next week, I'm supposed to get the fucking magazines by this Saturday, which will be February. So I will hold one up and be very glad when I get them in my hands. So until next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.